And education is important, and a lot of people go to college and they should, but I don't think college is for everybody.
Well, it wasn't for me.
Right. If you don't have the desire to go, why spend that amount of money? Your
I've never
passion
missed
was
it.
somewhere
I've
else.
never missed going. I know that everybody should get an education. I don't want to insinuate that people shouldn't, because I know they should. It just wasn't for me, but I think anybody should, and I've never missed it, never regretted it, but to each his own.
Well, you had a passion for
Yeah,
music,
yeah.
and that has done very well for you.
Did you go on the road right after that, so to speak?
No, not for a while. I played the nightclubs, and I played a place called the Apple in Woodlawn. It was a nightclub there that when I got with Red Jenkins and the Country Lads, when they needed a band, I hadn't met Red, and he called me and said that he heard that I'd been going to some jam sessions and sitting in, and he'd heard about me, and he called and said he needed a singer, and he heard I could sing, and I said, well, that's a matter of opinion, I guess, but I love to do it. So he had a job set up that Friday night, and I went to the Apple in Woodlawn and met Red and the band for the first time, and became the singer in the band, just like that. And we stayed there for a couple of years, went over to a place called the Boulevard in Tri-County, and was there 4.5 years, and went to a place called Julie's in Sharonville, and a couple of years there, and went from there to my nightclub in Wilder in 1978, and been there since.
That's what I was going to ask you. When you went on the road, was it, like some performers, a night here, a night there, but you just answered that. You stayed in one place for a long time. So that wasn't, I think, as hard as
during the 31 years at the nightclub. Like in 1980, we opened the club in '78. In 1980, I had the hit record Pepsi Man, and I also had a hit called Hero Daddy, that was the biggest selling record, but it didn't hit the charts. A lot of radio stations wouldn't play it because they thought it was too sad for their air. So, but it went number one in Cincinnati, and I'm probably most known for it. But during that time, we had the Pepsi Man record and went out on the road for that. And I've done several road things, but home base was always the nightclub in Wilder.
I know you said you did do some recording in Nashville. Did you ever think about moving to Nashville maybe?
Yes. In fact, the crossroad was to get my own nightclub here or move to Nashville. And it came easier, I guess, and I felt more secure because every nightclub I'd played had been successful, and I thought I'd feel more secure with a family to take the chance on the nightclub rather than move to Nashville. It's quite an unknown and a big risk. But so I'm not, so I figured that getting my own club, I could go to Nashville whenever I wanted, and I spent lots of time there through the years, the early years of the nightclub. I'd go down every week or every 2 weeks and spend a lot of time down there, and got involved with the studio once, and could record anytime I wanted, and so that worked out. But I think I've done the right thing by keeping a home base and always a place to come back to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, when you went to that first gig, Jenkins called you, were you concerned that they would ask you to sing something you didn't know?
No, I was up on about all the hits of the day, all the big hit songs, the Merle Haggard songs, and the George Jones, and all the big hits of the day. I knew them all, and it was great for me because I just mentioned one of them, and they knew them too because they'd been working with another singer that was up on all of them, and they had just split from him, and so it just ended up that most all the latest songs that I knew, they knew too, so it fit hand in glove.
Is that typical with whether it's country, western, or any other kind of musician? Is it more typical that either they don't read music, they don't have cases and cases of charts that they have to drag around, just everybody seems to know the same tunes, or they pick them out when they need to learn a new one?
Well, it falls in place if they've heard the songs and Now anymore, it's different. This new music, I don't know how anybody could keep up with it. It all sounds alike, and I'm
You talking about country western or just?
well, what they call country today is not what I call country.
It's more pop.
Yeah, I do traditional country music, and that's all I've ever done, and that's all I'm going to do. This new stuff, you know, the Tim McGraw and Kenny Chesney and people like that, that's great, and the young people love it, and that's great. That's their thing. It's a modern day thing, but that type of music is much harder. You're not going to go in any nightclub where any band is playing and hear the songs because they're too difficult.
You mean, what do you mean they're too difficult?
Well,
Lots of key changes?
Well,
or?
that and the bands just don't know them. You know, my band knows any country song. You know, anybody can come in and sing an old Patsy Cline song or an old Loretta Lynn song, and my band is going to back it like they rehearsed it. But if somebody comes in and wants to do the latest Kenny Chesney song, ain't nobody going to know it. They're just not going to know it. It's just not that popular.
I see.
But back
Sure.
years ago with the Marty Robbins and Jerry Lee Lewis and the Fair and Young and Ernest Tubb, you know, all these.
I think you probably could say the same thing about religious music. You pull
Yeah.
out an old hymn,
Yeah,
everybody, you know, the harmonies are pretty obvious.
I'm familiar with all the old hymns.
But
I
you bring
know
out
them all.
some contemporary song
Yeah,
where
you're going to throw people off. You're going to throw the musicians.
the harmonies are not obvious. You need charts.
Yeah, or rehearsal.
Yeah, you need rehearsal too.
Yeah.
And you know, if you know chords, and I assume you play other than chords, or you don't just hit a chord and strum.
I just drum and sing. That's all I
Well-
ever do. But I've got a great band that takes care of the rest of it. So.
Well, but there are people who take the chords different ways. I mean, you know, not just, instead of just strumming, they'll do other things to it. But if you know chords, you can pretty well jump into
yeah, you can follow. You
the
can-
the
I
song.
suspect
If the
Elvis
song
was
is
like
simple-
that, wasn't
Yeah.
Didn't Elvis just play chords?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He was
And,
just
and did a lot of shaking.
yeah.
But as long as you've
Jeremy
got
Elvis.
Thank you very much.
as long as you've got the basic chords, you've got the song really, because I mean
Yeah.
that's what it's built.
Yeah.
That's what the music's built on.
And I prefer those type songs that
Yeah.
are just, you know, you one time through, and the next time through the band has got it,
It's-
because they'll remember the melody.
It's what you grow up with.
But it's just
That
it's
stays
just
with
not
you
that
all
easy
times.
with the latest stuff,
Mhm.
the latest songs, the melodies and the beat. It's just not the same.
Well, it's easier to sing Cole Porter than almost any song on the top 10 charts. It's just there's a melody, you can follow it,
Just more familiarity.
right? Makes some sense, but I think that's because I'm too old.
That's right.
That's it.
And then there's rap. We don't want to go there.
Yeah, well, that's
But,
another story.
Spell backwards is par.
Oh,